watching WUFT Midday.
Severe storm slammed the southeast yesterday, leaving behind a trail of damage. This is WUFT Midday. I'm Madison Ginsberg.
And I'm Krystal Felix. WFT's Victoria Perez joins us live in the studio with footage that tells the story of this two-day severe weather event.
Madison, Krystal, it spawned tornadoes, brought hail, and intense thunderstorms. Heavy rain triggered flash flooding in Louisiana, where 6 to 10 inches had already fallen on Saturday. A man in Oklahoma died, and a semi-truck driver in Indiana was also killed after winds blew his truck over. From eastern Texas up to Michigan, the system unleashed severe thunderstorms and tornadoes. Parts of southern Texas were still dealing with flooding. In Rio Grande, people were wading in knee-high deep waters.
We're just getting like a bucket of water poured on us, and it's just it's too much for the drainage system.
In Alamo, Texas, shelters were open to help people whose homes were impacted by the floods. This has already been a particularly violent year for weather. Approximately 300 tornadoes have been reported since January. That's nearly double the 164 reported by this time last year. Parts of Alabama and Louisiana are still under severe thunderstorm warnings today. Reporting live from the studio, Victoria Perez, WUFT News.
We're drying out from the several inches of rain that came down in north central Florida Sunday. Let's get over to UF meteorologist William Maxham live in the weather studio. William, you're tracking some much lighter showers coming to our area.
Yeah, we're expecting some rain today. Those skies are threatening, but the severe weather threats are going to be much higher, just a little bit north of our area, say around I-10. More on that in a moment. Currently, under the clouds, it's in the upper 70s. It's warm. It is sticky. Good environment for some heavy rains, but it looks like our rain's going to be rather spotty through the rest of the afternoon into the evening. We do have the threat of severe thunderstorms, mainly from I-10 northward, but smaller risks for us. 70s right now will make it up into the 80s. We're looking at a marginal risk for our area. Basically, a couple of storms could have winds around 60 miles an hour. Things looking a little bit drier for the rest of the week, but the temperatures will be cranking up. More on that coming up.
President Trump has floated the idea of a third term in the past, but now he's insisting he is not joking. In an exclusive interview with NBC News, Trump talked about a third run, which is prohibited under the Constitution, and his frustrations with Russian President Vladimir Putin. NBC's Alice Barr has more from Washington.
President Trump returning to Washington for a busy week with his massive reciprocal tariff plan set to roll out on Wednesday against all trading partners.
You'd start with all countries.
Grabbing headlines first by not ruling out potentially seeking a constitutionally prohibited third term in office, telling NBC's Kristen Welker in an exclusive phone interview, quote, "I'm not joking," and that he thinks there would be methods to pursue it, later saying he's not looking at that.
We have a long way to go before we even think about it.
That as his billionaire advisor Elon Musk is raising legal questions for handing out million-dollar checks to two voters at a Wisconsin town hall, where he campaigned for a conservative judge up for election tomorrow in the state's high-stakes Supreme Court race that could lead to redrawing Wisconsin's congressional maps.
Whichever party controls the House, it to a significant degree controls the country, which then steers the course of Western civilization.
Protesters lined up as Democrats accuse Musk, who's poured millions into the race, of trying to buy the seat, though the state Supreme Court chose not to intervene. From frustration in the streets to President Trump voicing anger with Russian President Vladimir Putin, telling NBC News in that phone interview that he was, quote, very angry and pissed off at Putin for criticizing the credibility of Ukrainian President Zelensky's leadership.
You're supposed to be making a deal with him, whether you like him or you don't like him.
President Trump now threatening extra tariffs on Russian oil. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Some Americans are rushing to buy cars before potential price hikes from auto tariffs start to set on Thursday. But Wednesday could be an even bigger day for U.S. trade. That's when the president says he'll unveil reciprocal tariffs. The president now says reciprocal tariffs he plans to unveil Wednesday are on the table for all nations. Meanwhile, new 25% tariffs on imported vehicles are scheduled to start Thursday. Duties on parts are set to follow. Trump says he, quote, couldn't care less if car prices rise, so long as more manufacturing comes to the U.S. Analysts say a major supply chain shift would take years. Economists say that would likely raise prices for consumers.
You can't overrule the laws of economics with an executive order any more than you can overrule the laws of gravity.
Experts say those laws of economics apply to more than just cars. They predict Trump's other tariffs will also raise prices and lower demand. The president also says he plans to use the threat of additional tariffs as leverage in talks with Iran and Russia.
Special elections will be held Tuesday to fill the seats left by Mike Waltz and Matt Gaetz. The two resigned after President Trump nominated them to be in his cabinet. Republican candidate Jimmy Patronis, who is currently Florida's chief financial officer, is running against Democrat Gay Vallimont to fill the seat left by Gaetz' departure. The election to fill in the seat for Waltz will be Democrat Josh Wheel, who will be going against Republican Florida State Senator Randy Fine.
The Gainesville Housing Authority unveils the Elite Force Training Center. The center is meant to empower neighbors in affordable housing. The former daycare is now a space where families can learn new trades and skills. Gainesville Mayor Harvey Ward says that the center isn't only a place for learning, but a symbol for hope for neighbors in the area.
The community is investing in you. We've taken resources that we could have put in a variety of other places, but we believe it belongs there. We believe opportunity starts right here in your backyard.
Santa Fe College and the University of Florida. GHA is looking for community business partners who are able to teach at the center.
You may have noticed some changes in downtown Gainesville. There are cleaner streets, safer spaces, and friendly faces all around. WUFT's Emily Drelick tells us the story of the ambassadors making a difference for the community.
An angel.
How you doing, sir?
On wheels.
I love getting along with people, man. I love being a part of the community and just interacting with folks.
Chris Carpenter is one of the 14 ambassadors roaming downtown Gainesville. Whether they're cleaning the street, feeding the homeless, or simply helping someone find parking.
That's the man we need down here all the time. He was wonderful.
Ambassadors like Chris
hello,
are making downtown feel like home.
Hey, how y'all doing? Hold up, let me see. Beth, Lindsay, Lindsay, Evelyn, okay.
While the program has only been active for a few months, the ambassadors' impact has been life-changing.
All right, y'all have a good one.
They've already helped 25 homeless people off the street. Chris says it's his relationship with the community that makes the difference.
I know most of the houseless people out here by name. We have essentially implemented ourselves into the community to where, like, I'm one of them now. It's a beautiful feeling.
And it's for the downtown community that makes his work so fulfilling.
We've cleaned up the area, we've raised the quality of life in the area. And that's only going to get better with time. Just give us time to work and be a part of the community, and we can make a real change out here. Nice to meet you. What's your name?
Tony.
Chris, man. Nice to meet you.
That was Emily Drelick reporting. Chris says he hopes to see the program expanded to the areas around the University of Florida.
It's springtime, and with that comes bears out of hibernation. Black bears are known to be present across Ocala, but the FWC has some tips on how to keep them away from your home. They advise you to never feed or approach bears, remove bird feeders, feed your pets indoors, clean and store grills, and secure your garbage bins. Traffic is moving seamlessly along I-75 with partly cloudy skies. Let's now move to UF meteorologist William Maxham to see if our wind streak extends to this week's weather conditions.
Well, not really. It's going to be a little stormy in parts of Florida today. And then the rest of the week looking unseasonably hot. We'll be near 90 degrees. But today, a couple storms in north central Florida could be near severe limits. But basically, the worst of it's going to remain a little to our north and west. From Tallahassee westward, we have an enhanced risk of severe storms through the evening. That's a level 3 out of 5. Locally in north central Florida, we have a level 1. So basically, if we do see a storm today, good chance it could be severe, but most of that activity should stay to our north. We're very warm and sticky. It's already in the upper 70s after what was about an inch of rain yesterday. all that moisture still around, making it feel very sticky. And these could be fueling storms into the evening, but we'll show you in just a moment that those storms are going to be tracking mostly north of our area. Temperatures are going to make it up into the mid 80s. We're already at 79 degrees in the Villages, 75 Bronson, about 84, 85. Thanks in part to these south winds. That's going to keep coming our way. Even after this front moves through with the storms, we're still going to keep those warm temperatures around again, flirting with 90 degrees in the Villages today. We'll be in the mid 80s elsewhere with some clouds. And I think the most likely time frame where we may see a shower is probably before 7 o'clock this evening, but those chances probably about 10 to maybe 20%. So they're very low, but if we do see a storm, it could be strong with gusty winds, and overnight it stays warm and sticky. Again, that risk for us is a level 1 of 5. It's mainly for damaging wind gusts. So if we see a storm, expect those winds to exceed 60 miles an hour. We do have a couple of warnings. The big yellow shaded areas where we have a severe thunderstorm watch through the evening. The smaller little boxes are where the severe thunderstorm warnings are, and all of that most intense stuff is well to our north. Let's track this line of storms through the afternoon. You can see most of the worst of it is going to be moving through South Georgia. Then we see storms kind of breaking up across north central parts of the state, maybe a sprinkle into the morning, but overall our forecast mainly just very hot and sticky. Let's take a look at that 7-day forecast showing high heat after tomorrow, where we may see a sprinkle or two, only a 20% chance. We're into the 90s into the weekend. Our next chance of rain arrives next Monday.
Bipolar disorder is a complex mental illness that impacts millions of Americans. As we just observed World Bipolar Day globally, it's important to know what's true about the disorder and reduce the negative stigma. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither provides us with the facts experts say we should all be aware of.
In the U.S., around 6 million adults live with bipolar disorder. Experts say it's a mental illness that many misunderstand. And the first thing to know is that it's more than just one type, including bipolar 1, which is characterized by mania, with symptoms like elevated mood, racing thoughts, increased energy, being more impulsive or taking risks, and irritability. These last for a week or longer. Then there's bipolar 2, which is characterized by a depressive episode.
And a depressive episode is 2 weeks or longer of symptoms such as lack of interest, irritability, reduced energy, and of course sad mood for more days than not over that 2-week period.
Psychologist Louisa Sylvia with Mass General Hospital says the next thing to know is that most of those diagnosed and treated for bipolar disorder function well and recover from symptoms. Third, Sylvia says it typically takes about a decade to get a correct diagnosis simply because of a lack of knowledge around this disorder. Fourth, she says about half of bipolar disorder patients also face other conditions at the same time, like anxiety, an eating disorder, or substance use disorder. Finally, if you're experiencing symptoms of bipolar disorder, help is out there. Sylvia says primary care physicians can help find a treatment that's right for you, but early detection is important.
The more episodes you actually experience of bipolar disorder, evidence suggests that makes it more difficult to treat.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Sylvia says one of the challenges with bipolar disorder is that more than a quarter of Americans live in areas where there aren't enough mental health care professionals. She says Mass General Hospital is working on ways to increase access to mental health care in those areas, including training of non-clinical providers to add another layer of support.
A new study suggests not getting enough right sleep may increase the risk of Alzheimer's disease. Experts say most adults should spend between 20 and 25% of their night in 2 critical sleep stages. Those 2 stages being slow wave sleep and rapid eye movement, or REM sleep. Not getting enough sleep with those 2 stages may hasten the deterioration of parts of the brain associated with Alzheimer's.
Today, the Supreme Court will hear arguments over whether states may tax Catholic charities and religiously affiliated groups. The case concerns unemployment taxes, and some critics say it could put more than 1 million U.S. workers at risk of losing benefits. This started when the Catholic Churches Bureau and 4 affiliate organizations say Wisconsin violated the First Amendment's religious protections by denying exemptions from the taxes. Churches are exempt from most taxes, but the court will have to decide if groups affiliated with the religious organizations are afforded the same accommodation.
Elon Musk just sold his social media company X, but partly to himself. Musk sold X to his artificial intelligence company xAI for $33 billion. While that is lower than what he paid for it in 2022, it is more than its valuation was a few months ago. Musk said the new combined company is valued at $80 billion. xAI's Grok chatbot is already integrated into social media platforms. Musk says the combination of these two companies will deliver smarter and more meaningful experiences to users.
Now let's take a look at what's coming up tonight on First at 5 on Channel 5. Final Four fever throughout Gainesville. We'll take a look at some of the Gators men's basketball teams as the March Madness continues. Plus, record polling numbers, how this is impacting local car washes, and changes in the political climate being felt at home. The WFT reporting team will break down protests from over the weekend.
Before we go, how about we get one last check on the weather?
Let's do it. Across parts of Florida, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch. That includes Tallahassee and points westward. That does not include us, but we've got about a 20% chance of seeing a thunderstorm into the evening. Then tomorrow, an isolated shower is possible. Then it's all about the heat. Temperatures are going to be right around the 90-degree mark through the rest of the week. Into the weekend, great weather for sitting around the pool. Our next chance of rain arrives Monday.
Thanks for joining us for WFT Midday. We'll be back here tomorrow for another edition.
We will see you later today for First at 5 on Channel 5. Have a great afternoon.